What the heck is going on with the UX job market? I was following the Figma Config conference, and one of the presenters showed a slide that suggested many design teams were cut by 50%. Is this at all correct? I'm a junior UX designer, and it's almost impossible to get a job. We had a team of 12 designers, now it's just me. My UX org of designers and researchers, we even had a design ops guy, was decimated. We went from a respectable 70 plus headcount to 25 with no researchers retained whatsoever. And here's an Indeed job openings chart. As you can see, percent decrease, 36% for UX. There are more roles open now, but competition has ratcheted up so much that it may take longer to find a job now than a year ago, despite seeing more job openings and fewer layoffs each week. Layoffs have pushed many experienced UX professionals into the job market. Roles are available, but competition will continue to be stiff. There are a lot of very talented designers out of work right now who are applying for the same roles. Alright, cut. That's enough building suspense with that music and doing a lot of editing. Okay, so obviously a lot of people in the UX industry are freaking out. People are struggling to get jobs. There's obviously more competition with jobs, even if you have experience as a designer. There seems to be a lot of panic, and people are kind of talking about, is UX a good career still? And then obviously there's the AI discussion, and will AI be able to completely take over the UX design industry and replace everybody's jobs in that industry? I'm not quite sure, but it looks like potentially AI could maybe take over a big part of it.
There will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything.
I'm not sure if I 100% agree with that, but let's look at what parts of the UX process could be taken over by AI. So, starting with research. There's a bunch of research tools that already exist out there, and now they actually have AI tools built into their platforms. For example, user testing, they have AI in it now, and it can help you, says it can help you collect, analyze, and act on user insights. There's another one called Coco. Looks like it can generate user personas, journey maps, user interview scripts, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of other ones. But basically with research, we're trying to gather a bunch of information on a specific topic or problem area and then analyze that for pain points. And I'd say that in terms of AI being useful for things, I'd say research is probably one of the best things that it can do. Taking in a bunch of large amount of research or data and then analyzing it and giving you specific answers. And obviously I just show that there are a couple tools that are already integrating research and AI together. So I would say that that is probably a big confident yes, that the research side of UX is probably going to be taken over by AI, and you won't need a big research team. You probably just need one person that's running your UX department, and they can conduct research basically on their own. So after research, we define the problem. I'd say that's probably part of the research stage. I think the AI could confidently take the research and then identify and define what the problem is. And so then we go to actually designing. Obviously, this first phase with design is low fidelity designs, getting a starting point. So when you're building out a UI, like a lot of the products that you're building, something similar has been done before. That use case has been done before. There's a pattern out there that already works for that scenario. It's already been tested with users. So in terms of using AI to design, like, I don't see that being very far-fetched. If there's already a design patterns out there that work, they've been tested, validated, why wouldn't we be able to build a library of tested and validated designs? And then the AI can just take your research, take your pain points, take the problem that you're solving for, the stage of the design process, the user journey flow, and then map that user journey flow into a proven UI component that's worked. I'd say that is not out of the realm of possibilities. Actually, pretty likely. There are UI platforms out there that are using AI already, like this UiZard or Wizard. I think it's supposed to be Wizard. But it seems to be able to build out a simple UI based on some prompts already. I'm not sure how good it is, but this is obviously just a starting point. It's just going to keep getting better and better. And they've got some pretty big name companies on here that are using it. So I'd say that's a good sign that there's some trust in it. And so there's another one called Diagram. This was just recently purchased by Figma. So Figma is obviously thinking about integrating AI components and AI capabilities into their design program. I'd say it's only a matter of time before Figma has its own built-in AI. So go back to our chart here. I'd say that yes, let's give that a yes. Design definitely could possibly be done by AI at some point soon. Prototyping, so more functionality in the design, and I would say that this probably goes along with designing and prototyping. If Figma is going to be able to integrate AI into their platform, obviously we know Figma can be used for prototyping and designing, and so it's just common sense that if AI can be integrated, that it can do both of those. Validating, I'm going to put a quick yes, because this is going back to sort of user research. You're going to take your designs now and you're going to validate them with your users. And if there's a platform that's able to take your prototype, shoot it out to some users to get feedback, analyze that feedback, and then give you actionable insights to make your prototype and design better, then I'd say yes, AI can do that. So I've used this program before. This used to be called Usability Hub. They're now called Lisna. But basically you can send out your designs. You can specify what users you want to test your designs, and you can get direct feedback on your UX designs. So if AI was able to generate all that for you, send it out, get validation, and then give you the feedback, it's really not out of the realm of possibilities for that. So I'd say that it can definitely validate your designs. And then we get to the build phase, where we're actually going to build out our design, make it functional. And there's a bunch of tools out there that are using no code or low code platforms to drag and drop.
If you look at some of those tools, like for example, here's Flutterflow, which is a low code, no code tool that does mobile and web app stuff. They've added in an AI configuration so you can generate UIs and the snippets of code that you need using an AI interactively. Similarly, Supabase, which is a Postgres managed service that provides a lot of extra add-ons, they've added AI stuff right into their dashboard. So part of the point there is that they're trying to lower the amount of work to get things done, which is great, but it also means that the tech skills levels to be productive with it shrink as well. A lot of the entrepreneurs are using things like Bubble or other platforms to just simply build and launch their apps with drag and drop. Remember, it's not about replacing all the jobs, but if we go through a few years where every year it's 5 to 10% shrink in the overall jobs for software development, what that means is that we'll have a lot of price pressure on salaries and also negotiation for the software engineering. What that might look like is, instead of 6-figure developer jobs, you get 5-figure developer / configuration jobs potentially.
Again, if we're using components that are sort of common patterns, we could actually build out our solution with a no-code platform. And if AI is able to take the design from Figma and then completely build it out into a functional working product, I don't see that being out of the question. There's another one called Flutterflow, another no-code tool that is used for building out basically starting points of working prototypes, or actually functional more than a prototype. They're actually a product. The last phase of the process is QA testing. Can QA testing be automated? I mean, it's already been automated in engineering for a long time.
The theme that's underlying a lot of that has been up or out, right? You either learn more and add more to your skill sets, or at some point you get out of the space. So for example, QA. Years ago, probably 15 years ago, most of the manual QA got kind of scrubbed out and replaced with test automation and SDETs, for example. So that kind of made everybody say either you're in and you're going to keep adding more and more to your skill set, or you're out.
QA testing in design is a little different than the QA testing in engineering. You want to test your designs, make sure that everything's working properly on an ongoing basis. But the fact that it's automated in engineering already and has been for 15 years or so, it's a good chance that design QA testing is probably going to be automated at some point, maybe overseen by a human at the top end, but for the most part, you can tell an AI to go through your design, give it some criteria to look for, test that criteria, and then it'll give you actionable insights, and then you can feed those insights back into the system and continuously improve your product. So QA testing, that's a yes. And so if we're looking at the overall design process as a whole, can it be taken over completely as a seamless process by AI? At this point, it's fragmented. There's different tools for different parts of the process. You kind of have to have your head in the sand to think that this whole process won't be integrated together into one seamless end-to-end UX process at some point. And so what does that mean for the end? And so what does that mean for the UX industry? Well, it means that you don't need all these people working in each part of this process. You just need maybe one person that's overseeing it, that's a senior designer, someone that knows what to look for, knows how to set it up. But that drastically reduces the number of UX designers you need. It's just a sober reality of the situation, and this is just a process that can be automated and can be done by AI at some point in the near future. So what does all this mean? If you're a UX designer watching this, it's probably not a very good ending, not very optimistic or uplifting. And I think a lot of people are going to have to face this same scenario in the next coming years. And unfortunately, like our friend Will from ChangeNode said,
so that kind of made everybody say either you're in and you're going to keep adding more and more to your skill set, or you're out.
You're either going to have to adapt and get new skills, or you have to get out and you have to find a different industry or a different career to go into. Because the reality of the situation is, these things can be done by AI. They will be done by AI. And from a company perspective, as we've seen recently with layoffs, if a company doesn't have to pay as many employees, they're going to make more money. It just makes sense, and that's just how business works. So if they're able to automate something, or if AI can do something better than humans can at a price that's much cheaper than what humans cost, they're going to do that. So unfortunately for the UX industry, it may be time to either get out or change your skills. And the good news is there are other careers that UX skills can go into. UX is a transferable skill. It's still valuable. You have to figure out how to build on top of those skills and transition maybe into a different career. The field of digital marketing, for example, UX is a big part of what makes a good SEO for a website. Content design. And content is something that, AI can write content, but it's just regurgitated and it sounds the same as all the other stuff because it's just referencing content that's already been produced. But humans have the ability to come up with creative content that's original. And so maybe you look at going into more of a digital marketing career, go into SEO, go into content marketing, go into freelancing and building out web designs. And that's what we talk about on this channel. That's why it's called Content Plus Digital Marketing, because content is something that is going to be needed from humans because it's original. You can't just keep writing the same content that's AI produced because it's just going to be all the same generic content. So leverage your creativity, leverage your originality as a human, and get into an industry where you're not going to be able to be automated out. If there's a set process that doesn't change and there's a formula that's followed, that's something that AI can do. Something that's predictable and there's a formula behind it. And that's what UX is built on. It's a formula. There really isn't actually that much creativity in UX.
It's not as creative as you might have thought. UX design is unlike art. The processes for UX and UI design have matured over the years, and the focus has been to make them more efficient, scalable, and usable. That means a lot of design patterns are standardized.
It's standardized patterns. Those patterns can be tested with users. Once they're tested and validated, you know that pattern works. It's a repeatable pattern, and you can just build that into a library. And eventually you're going to have all the patterns built out. And so AI can just pick and choose and build out UIs and build out a good UX based on what's already been working, what works already. So unfortunately, that's the sad reality of it. But hopefully this gives you some ideas on what's coming in the future. And if you like this video and you want to learn more about different skill sets and how you can transition out of UX and into more content or digital marketing, subscribe to the channel. That's what we're going to be talking about here. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.